Hello, I am Wanderer001 and this is my review of the HooToo TripMate Titan. Now this device is what I would call the Swiss Army knife of devices if you are a traveler of any sort. For myself recently I have been doing a lot more traveling to conferences for my job, and I was looking for something very similar to this, but the thing I was looking at was only one of the several things that the HooToo Titan can do here. So let's start off with just, the general specifications of it, size and so forth. You are looking at a device that is 3.74 inches high with a width of 6.5 inches that also has a depth of 6.5 inches. Now it is made of a matte plastic material all around there. You can see that the sides are black. It does have this red accent at the top and the bottom, and the bottom there is just going to give you information about capacity and outputs and stuff of that nature. So what you probably saw while I was walking you around it were these rubberized flaps at the top. Now that's because the HooToo TripMate here has several different things that it can do. One of which is being a router, being a bridge, and being an access point. All from this little device. Now, speaking of size of this device, here is my Eton boost block that I have that's just a little shy of how large the HooToo is, and all this is a charger. This does so much more. And just for everybody else, here is a pack of cards to give you a rough idea of the size of the boost block, because, well, I like to do everyday objects. Coming across to the top here, if I open this front panel, you're going to see a USB port and a micro USB port. That's because you can use this as a media server, so a NAS device almost, so you can view movies, photos across wireless devices without having to be connected to the internet. Now, this USB port here will let you use either a flash drive or an external hard drive. That's right, you can use an external hard drive, so you can grab your 1 terabyte, 3 terabyte external hard drive, load it up with movies, and be able to watch them wirelessly on your phone or tablet, and you can have up to 5 devices connected. Now, I will talk about this a little more when I show you the app that you should, well, the app that you need in order to view those, and the web UI. Your little micro USB port there is just for charging the device. If I flip it around to the back here, you're going to see the other rubberized flap, and you see a WAN port and a pin reset. Now the WAN port, like I said before, is because you can actually plug Ethernet into this and have this act as a Wi-Fi access point. So if you're at a hotel, and granted not many are like this anymore, but if you're at a hotel that only has wired internet, you could plug it into here and then use this to transmit a Wi-Fi signal out to all of your devices. Now this is also good if, in my case, Wi-Fi and wired internet were free, but if I wanted to pay for it, they would give me a little faster speed, so I paid for the wired speed and then just used this as an access point for all my devices. Now, when you're streaming videos or what have you, you can only stream to 5 devices. Now, that's not terrible if you ask me, but it's a limitation that I want you to be aware of. Now, the other thing that this can do, and I'm gonna flip back to the front here, you do not just get a USB port in order to access files. This is also, coming down to the bottom here, a 10,400 milliamp battery, which run the device itself, but also allows you to charge your devices from the HooToo here. So like I said, this is the Swiss Army knife if you're a traveler. So you can charge, watch stuff online, pay for a single device, whether it be Wi-Fi or wired, and access all of your devices with just this one single item. Now, it does come with a USB port, USB cable. It's very short. I recommend getting a larger one or a longer one. But that's it. It does not come with a wall mount to charge it. So if you're going to charge it, you're going to plug it into your computer, or you're going to have to use your cell phone's wall charger. Now, speaking of charging, it does take 8, almost 9 hours to fully charge this using a cell phone wall wart. And when you do charge it, the lights up here are white and they'll light up and blink. So, you know, when you're up to 50%, you'll see this one blinking. When you're full, it will get to here and stop blinking. So the lights do not turn off when it's done charging. I just want you to be aware of that. I tested it because most battery packs that I'm used to, once it gets to here, it will continue until the lights turn off, and that's when you know it's fully charged. I charged it for an extra 2 hours. That light never went off. Now, speaking of testing to see how much battery power you have, you just come up here and the button, press it once, and it tells you it's fully charged. If you want to put it into a Wi-Fi mode, all you do is hold down on the button and you'll watch these lights over here start lighting up, and then this light over here turns blue. Take your finger off, and there you go. It starts blinking blue, letting you know that it is transmitting a signal. So again, this is not wired to anything, and I don't have it acting as an access point. Right now, this is acting as its own access point, not connected to the internet in any way, shape, or form. And if I bring my phone over, it will connect and allow me to access media that I have on an external hard drive or a flash drive. So why don't I take this moment to show you what it looks like with the web UI and the app so you can see what that's like. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you connect to the HooToo device there. You can see right there the Wi-Fi network name that it creates for itself is TripMate Sith, and then my particular one is F630. So you're going to connect to that. The password to get onto that local network, if you don't change it, is 8 numeric 1. So you type in 11111 8 times, and that logs you into the HooToo's network. The next thing you do is you have one of two choices. You can, one, come down to a browser and then just select to go anywhere, and as long as you're on the HooToo network, it will prompt you to log into the device's settings. Here you see the IP address for the device. By default, there is no password, so you can just click login. I highly suggest that you change that when you get here. Now, for me and my particular device, I have found, even though I have something connected to it, if I go into videos or photos, it's not displaying anything when I go through the web UI. Now, I do have photos and videos on the device, and we're just going to come up here and go and show you that if I log in with a different browser, you get the same results. Going back to the TripMate though, if we come to the web UI, this is where you can change your settings, and I highly recommend going through the settings, especially system settings, so that you can change the username and password. If we come over to information, it's just that. Here is your device information and storage. Now what it's doing is calculating the actual storage size of the device that I have plugged into the HooToo. So here you can see I have 43% of storage used on that device. You can delete. I would not recommend doing that. User manager. So what this will allow you to do is you have one admin user that can access through the web UI. This is where you would change the password, which I highly recommend you doing. Or you can also have guests that can get onto the user, the web user interface. And again, you can create a password for them. Highly suggested that you do that. Network settings. This is where you would come to change some of the settings. If we come to host name, here you could change the host's name. Come to Wi-Fi and LAN. Here you could change the name as it's displayed, the mode which the Wi-Fi is. Currently it is set for 802.11 BGN, or if we click on this, we could select a particular band that we want it to run in. You could change the password, so if you don't want those 8 number ones, which I highly suggest you change, that's where you would do it. You could also see the MAC address, IP address, and some other information that you may or may not know what it is. Down here, this is the important one, which is the Misc security. If you want to change that, just keep in mind you need to know what you're doing. DHCP server, I'm not going to get into that because most people, it's a little beyond what they would know how to do. Don't mess with it if you don't know what it is. Internet. This is how you would allow the HooToo to act as a Wi-Fi extender. So currently I just have it on wireless access, DHCP, and then here are some local area networks. Now if I picked one of them and selected to log on, what it would do is then turn the HooToo into a Wi-Fi extender, allowing me to get extra range out of my Wi-Fi. So if I have a dead spot in my house, I could use that as a little extender, which is kind of cool. I'm going to skip services settings because granted, most of you probably won't be using that. I'm going to come to system settings, however, and then here we could see time settings, which will allow you to set up specific time information for the HooToo. It is not necessary to set that up to actually use the HooToo device, but if you wanted to, you could come through and do that. You can come and check and see if there is a firmware upgrade. It's showing you the current version. And coming back, you can do restart. Doing this will factory reset the device. Again, not recommended. It gives you a little warning there to make sure that you are aware that what you do is permanent. And then here you have wizard settings. So this will walk you through actually a setup process using a wizard as opposed to using the settings here. The other way to access the HooToo is through the HooToo app. So here I have the TripMate app. And what that's going to do is allow you to access the storage device that's attached. Now you can also use this as a means of going through the storage on your phone. See if I switch it over to my devices. Now I'm looking through the phone to see if there's anything on here that I can use. But if I go over to my trip, it shows you a large volume folder, which is an external hard drive. And that's the other thing I want to say is, yes, you can use both a flash drive with media on it, but also the HooToo is strong enough and has enough power output to support an external hard drive. I'm using an external hard drive right now, a 1 terabyte external hard drive, so I can access all my files. Now, it will let you look at pictures, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm going into pictures, and there, that is a picture of my horrible bathroom when we first got our condo. That is a lovely metallic floral print, lovely brown, all the way to the ceiling, so not great. But you can access pictures, as well as you can access videos. So here I'm going to go into my YouTube folder on the device, and this is actually where I store my finished YouTube videos that I put up. So here I'm going to show you. That was VLC, not the HooToo itself. Now, it might be hard to hear this because I'm wearing a lapel mic, but this video is actually running. So let me skip it ahead a little bit. Here's where I'm going to throw some extra little bits of information. So this way you can act... Well, there you go. So you can actually see that there's movement. Now, I want to preface this with saying this is a full 1080 HD 60 frames a second video that is playing flawlessly off of an external hard drive that's just wirelessly being transmitted through the HooToo. Now, when I tried doing HD 60 frames a second videos off of something like the Western Digital My Passport, link over there, it did struggle a little bit with HD video. You really couldn't, you know, there was a lot of buffering. This really is not buffering at all. It's playing perfectly fine, even with my phone in power saver mode, which does take my phone and video playback from the HooToo device. Now, if we also come back to the main screen here, you have some extra buttons at the top which you can select. If we go to view, that will just change the type of view that you have of your folder. So actually, if I go into a folder and change the view, that'll give you a little better idea of what that looks like. We can also come into settings using the app. Now the app is going to have some of the settings that you can get in the web UI, but not all of them. So here you've got the device name, security options, and firmware upgrade. You can also change the internet access. So like I said, if you want to make this a Wi-Fi extender, or if you want to access Wi-Fi using the HooToo, you can use the app to do so. You have a back button, which obviously will bring you back to your previous page. You have manage, and here this will allow you to move items from the external hard drive to the phone itself if you wanted to. Now I'm not going to do that because this is only a 16 gigabyte phone and it's on its last leg, so I won't be doing that. You also have a search, which will allow you to search for media on the phone itself. And coming down here, we've got our 3 dots, which is our impromptu hamburger button. Clicking that will allow you to see About, Transfer. Again, this will let you bring over files from the device to the phone. You can log out of the HooToo app, and again, keep in mind that you will have to log in with the 11111, or you can exit, and if I just exit that, that will close the HooToo app. So this was just a quick walkthrough of the web UI and the app for the HooToo, giving you a demonstration of what it looks like to stream full 1080p 60 frames a second video through the HooToo Titan here. And now if you ever want to power it down, you just come over here, press the button, all the lights, and now it's going to go backwards. And there you go, it's off. So what I did forget to mention, but you probably saw when I was doing the web UI and the app, it does transmit in 802.11 BG and N, so that's your 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. This is not a 5 gigahertz spectrum transmitter, but 2.4 means you get better range and access on devices, because not everything can access a 5 gigahertz spectrum yet. Now, speaking of Wi-Fi spectrum and speeds and range, I did do several speed tests and range tests with this device, which I'll be rolling in as I am talking here. Now, compared using my Asus Wi-Fi router, link over there, which I ran speed tests on, comparatively, there was a diminished speed with this device. And obviously, it's not meant to be a very fast device. It's meant to get you online and allow you to access, materials. I did get about 9 megabits a second with this, which is enough to watch your Netflix or what have you, which is very good. Now, the range, if you're sitting right in the same room with it and there's no obstructions, you're gonna be okay. But as I walked further away into like my back bedroom, which has to go past an electrical panel and there's like 2 doors to get to it, you did notice that both the speed as well as the strength of the Wi-Fi signal diminished. So just want you to be aware of that. For what it is, I've got really good speeds and really good range. I did not actually expect to get as good as I did with this. Here's the real deciding factor with this. It's only $40. You get all those perks for only $40. Now, for me, that was an easy buy, because I was looking at a separate Wi-Fi adapter that wasn't, a bridge, wasn't a battery pack, nothing, and it was more expensive than this. Granted, I probably would have gotten slightly better speeds, but for what you get in this small form factor, I mean, it fits in the palm of my hand. I can't recommend it enough. In fact, the one thing that I will recommend is, because of the size, that you keep the box that it comes in, because the box is not terribly larger than the HooToo itself, and you would get to keep the manual that comes with the HooToo, and I would recommend keeping that in the box along with the HooToo, because, well, there are some functions that I don't use all the time and tend to forget, but if I keep everything in the box, and granted I should have put the manual underneath, but I threw it on top there, keep the manual with the box, you got the box that protects the HooToo. Like I said, I cannot recommend this enough. So I have been Wanderer001. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching.